A client came into my office about 8 months ago. I'll call him Daniel. Daniel is 34, software engineer, smart guy, the kind of person who researches everything before he commits to it. He spent 3 weeks reading reviews before he bought a mattress. He is not naive. He is not impulsive. He is exactly the kind of person who would tell you confidently that he would never fall for a financial scam. He sat down across from me and slid his phone across the desk. "I want to talk about this guy," he said. On the screen was an Instagram profile. I'll call the guy Marcus. Not his real name, but the details are real. Marcus had 340,000 followers. His content was daily. Charts, analysis, trade setups, occasional screen recordings showing his platform with green P&L numbers. He posted about his losses too, which was the detail that had convinced Daniel he was legitimate. Fake gurus don't talk about losses. Marcus talked about losses. That meant he was honest. Daniel had been following Marcus for 4 months. He had joined Marcus's Discord community at $97 a month. He had been paper trading Marcus's signals, not real money yet, just practicing, and he was thinking about going live. He wanted my opinion before he did. He wanted to know if Marcus was the real thing. I told him I'd look out into it, and we'd talk through what I found together. What I found in the next 2 hours changed the direction of that conversation completely, and it's what I want to walk you through today. Not because Marcus is unique, but because Marcus is everywhere. Hundreds of versions of Marcus across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, each one slightly different in presentation, but identical in the thing that actually matters: the business model. I'm Elizabeth, a financial advisor, and today I want to show you exactly how to see through the content to the money. Because once you understand how these people actually make their income, you will never be able to look at a trading guru the same way again. The first thing I did when Daniel left my office was open Marcus's Instagram and watch his last 30 days of content straight through. The presentation was polished but deliberately casual. Marcus filmed from what looked like a home office, not overly flashy, but nice enough to signal success without triggering the part of your brain that gets suspicious of obvious luxury. He wore plain t-shirts. He spoke directly to camera with the kind of relaxed confidence that reads as authentic rather than performed. The content itself was genuinely educational in places. He explained concepts clearly. He showed his reasoning. He acknowledged when trades didn't go as planned. Everything about the surface of this content was designed to answer the question, can I trust this person, with a resounding yes. But I wasn't looking at the content. I was looking for something underneath it. I was looking for the business model. Here's the question I always ask when I'm evaluating anyone who is presenting themselves as a financial expert online. Not, does this person seem knowledgeable? Not, does this person seem honest? Those questions can be answered by performance, and performance can be constructed. The question is, how does this person actually make money? Not how do they say they make money. How do they actually make money? Follow the revenue. Ignore everything else. With Marcus, the revenue picture came together quickly. Discord membership, 40,000 members at $97 per month. I'll let you do that math. It comes out to $3.88 million per year. Before taxes, before expenses, but still $3.88 million per year from membership fees alone. Course sales. Marcus offered a flagship trading course at $1,497. Based on his follower count, engagement rates, and the conversion rates typical for this type of content creator, conservative estimates put his annual course revenue somewhere between $800,000 and $1.2 million. Affiliate broker commissions. This one is less visible but critically important, and I'll come back to it in detail. Marcus had a link in his bio to a specific broker platform. Every person who signed up through that link generated a commission for Marcus. The exact structure varies by broker, but industry standard for these arrangements is either a flat fee per referred account or a percentage of the spreads and fees generated by referred traders, meaning Marcus earned money every time one of his referred traders made a trade. Added up conservatively, Marcus's income from trading education, community, and affiliate arrangements, somewhere between $5 and $6 million per year. Now, here's the question I needed to answer. How much of Marcus's income came from actual trading? I spent time looking for any third-party verified trading records, any audited performance history, any independent confirmation that Marcus was generating the returns he suggested in his content. I found none. What I found was screenshots, screen recordings, clips of green numbers on a platform interface. All of it self-reported. None of it independently verified, none of it audited, none of it subject to any external validation whatsoever. When I sat down with Daniel the following week and showed him what I'd found, I asked him one question. If Marcus is genuinely making $50,000 a month from trading, which is the impression his content creates, why does he need your $97? Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I never thought about it that way. Most people don't, because the content is designed specifically to prevent you from thinking about it that way. Every piece of Marcus's presentation is optimized to answer the question, is this person successful at trading? Rather than the question, where does this person's money actually come from? Those are different questions. And the answer to the second one changes everything. Now, let me talk about the affiliate broker arrangement, because this is the piece that most people miss entirely, and it's the piece that makes the entire system genuinely predatory rather than just misleading. When Marcus recommends a broker, when he puts a link in his bio, when he mentions a platform in his content, when his Discord moderators steer members toward a specific trading platform, he is not doing that because he believes it's the best platform for you. He is doing it because he has a financial arrangement with that broker that pays him based on your activity. The specific structure varies. Some arrangements pay a flat fee per referred account. Some pay a percentage of the spread, the difference between the buy and sell price on every trade you make. Some pay based on total trading volume generated by referred accounts. What all of these arrangements have in common is this. Marcus gets paid when you trade, not when you profit, when you trade. Think about what that means for the advice you're receiving. If Marcus's income from your trading activity is tied to your volume rather than your performance, his financial interest is for you to trade as frequently as possible. More trades equals more revenue for Marcus. The question of whether those trades are good for your portfolio is simply not part of his incentive structure. I want to be very precise here because this is important. I'm not saying Marcus is consciously thinking, I hope my followers lose money. I'm saying that the incentive structure he has built around his business does not require your success to generate his income. Your losses do not reduce his revenue. Your gains do not increase it. The only variable that affects his affiliate income is how much you trade. In the financial advisory world, we have a term for advisors whose recommendations are influenced by the commissions they receive. Conflicted. A conflicted advisor is not necessarily a dishonest person, but their financial interests are not aligned with yours. And when financial interests are not aligned, the advice you receive is structurally compromised regardless of the advisor's intentions. Marcus is conflicted. Deeply, structurally, unavoidably conflicted. And the conflict is invisible to most of his audience because it's buried in an affiliate arrangement that isn't disclosed in the content. A registered investment advisor, someone operating under fiduciary duty, as I do, is legally required to disclose conflicts of interest and to act in the client's best interest regardless of their own financial benefit. That standard exists because we understand that conflicted incentives produce compromised advice, even from well-intentioned people. Marcus is not a registered investment advisor. He is not subject to fiduciary duty. He is not required to disclose his affiliate arrangements. He is not required to act in your best interest. He is required to do nothing except not commit outright fraud. And the space between not committing outright fraud and acting in your best interest is very large. Marcus lives in that space, comfortably, profitably. Now, let me talk about the social proof, because this is the mechanism that makes the whole system work at scale. Without convincing social proof, the business model collapses. So understanding how it's constructed is essential to seeing through it. When Daniel first showed me Marcus's profile, the thing that had convinced him most was not Marcus's own claims about his trading performance. It was the testimonials, the community, the hundreds of Discord members posting about their wins, tagging Marcus, crediting his methodology with their success. 40,000 people can't all be wrong, was the implicit logic. If the system didn't work, the community wouldn't exist. This logic feels sound. It isn't. Let me show you how a trading community's social proof is actually constructed, because the mechanics are specific, and once you see them, they're impossible to unsee. First, the selection effect. In any trading community of 40,000 people, some percentage will have winning trades at any given time simply through normal market variance. If 10% of members have a winning week, a conservative estimate given that markets move up and down and any position has some probability of going the right direction, that's 4,000 people with a reason to post something positive. The members who are losing and the research on retail trading outcomes is unambiguous that the majority of retail traders lose money over meaningful time periods, have no incentive to post about their losses. Losses are private. Wins are public. The community feed therefore reflects a systematically distorted sample. You see the wins, you don't see the losses. The community looks like a collection of successful traders because the unsuccessful ones are silent. Second, the demo account problem. The screenshots and screen recordings that form the backbone of trading social proof are almost entirely unverifiable. A demo account, a simulated trading environment that uses fake money but real market data, is visually identical to a live account on most platforms. The P&L numbers look the same, the charts look the same, the interface looks the same. Creating a screenshot showing a $4,700 profit on a demo account takes approximately 3 minutes and costs nothing. I want to be careful here because I'm not asserting that every screenshot in every trading community is from a demo account. I'm asserting that you have no way to know, and neither does Marcus's audience. And Marcus knows that you have no way to know. The unverifiability is a feature, not a bug. It creates the appearance of a track record without the accountability of an actual track record. Third, the survivorship of the community itself. People who join a trading community and lose money tend to leave quietly. People who join and have some success, even temporary success that doesn't hold up over time, tend to stay and become vocal. The community at any given moment is therefore disproportionately populated by people who have had recent positive experiences, regardless of what the long-term outcomes look like for the broader membership. Put these 3 mechanisms together, and you get a community that looks, from the outside, like overwhelming evidence that the system works. Thousands of people posting wins, success stories everywhere, an entire social environment validating the methodology. What you're actually looking at is a carefully curated sample of selected positive outcomes from a large population in which the majority are quietly losing money. Daniel had been in the Discord for 4 months. He had seen hundreds of win posts. He had seen a handful of loss posts, always followed by encouraging responses about discipline and process. I asked him, "Did you ever see anyone post their total P&L for the year? Not individual trade results? The cumulative, honest accounting of everything in and everything out?" He thought about it. "No," he said, "just individual trades. Individual trades are meaningless without cumulative context. A trader who wins 70% of their trades but loses more on the losses than they gain on the wins is a trader who is losing money. You cannot evaluate a trading methodology from individual trade screenshots any more than you can evaluate a casino's profitability by watching a single hand of blackjack. Marcus's community generates an enormous volume of individual trade screenshots. It generates essentially no verified cumulative performance data. That asymmetry is not an accident. I want to address something directly because I know what some of you are thinking. Maybe Marcus's methodology actually works. Maybe some of his students are genuinely profitable. Maybe the educational content has real value even if the business model is imperfect. These are fair points, and I don't want to dismiss them. It is possible that some people who follow Marcus's signals make money. In a market that goes up over time, a significant percentage of people who take long positions will show gains over any given period regardless of the quality of the methodology. Correlation between following Marcus and making money in a bull market does not tell you anything reliable about the methodology itself. It is also possible that the educational content Marcus produces has genuine instructional value. Understanding charts, understanding basic technical analysis, understanding how options work. This knowledge exists independently of whether Marcus is a credible source of it, and learning it from him is not inherently harmful. What I'm saying is something more specific. The business model creates a structural conflict of interest that should concern you regardless of the quality of the content. When the person giving you financial guidance earns money from your trading activity rather than from your financial success, you are operating in an environment where the incentives are misaligned. That misalignment is real whether or not Marcus is consciously exploiting it. And the social proof that makes his community feel like a validation of the methodology is constructed through mechanisms. Selection effects, unverifiable screenshots, silent losers that systematically overrepresent positive outcomes and underrepresent negative ones. You are not seeing accurate information about results. You are seeing a curated presentation of selected results designed to make the community feel like evidence. That is not fraud in the legal sense. It is something more insidious, a system that creates the feeling of validation without the substance of it. So, how do you evaluate whether someone presenting themselves as a trading expert is worth your time and money? 3 questions. In order. Non-negotiable. First, how does this person make their money? Not how do they say they make their money. How do they actually make it? Look for the revenue streams. Course sales, membership fees, affiliate broker arrangements, sponsored content. These things are not always disclosed voluntarily. Sometimes you have to look for the link in the bio, the broker recommendation in the content, the upsell from the free community to the paid tier. If the majority of their income comes from selling education about trading rather than from trading itself, you need to ask why. A person with a genuinely profitable trading methodology has limited incentive to spend their time creating daily content, managing a Discord server, and selling courses. Their time is worth more trading than teaching. When teaching becomes the primary business, it usually means trading is not generating the income the content implies it is. Second, where is the verified performance data? Not screenshots, not screen recordings, not testimonials from community members. Third-party verified, audited performance records showing cumulative returns over meaningful time periods. This standard exists in the professional investment world for good reason. Any fund manager, any registered advisor, any professional who manages money on behalf of clients is subject to performance reporting requirements specifically because self-reported performance data is unreliable. If a trading guru cannot point you to independently verified performance records, and most cannot, because most don't have them, you have no reliable information about whether their methodology actually works. You have marketing materials. Marketing materials are not performance data. Third, are the incentives aligned? If this person earns money when you trade regardless of whether you profit, their incentives are not aligned with yours. Full stop. That doesn't make them a criminal, but it means the advice you receive from them is coming from someone whose financial interest is not tied to your financial success. Compare that to a fiduciary advisor, someone who is legally required to act in your best interest, who earns their income from fees you pay directly rather than from commissions tied to your activity. The incentive alignment is completely different, and incentive alignment matters enormously in financial guidance. Daniel decided not to go live with Marcus's signals. He canceled his Discord membership the following month. He took the $97 he had been paying monthly and added it to his automatic index fund contribution. He told me recently that the hardest part wasn't the decision itself. It was reconciling the time he'd spent, 4 months, daily content consumption, hours in the Discord, with the realization that most of what he'd been doing was participating in a very well-constructed marketing funnel rather than learning a path to financial independence. He said, the content felt like education, but looking back, it was just a very long sales pitch. That is the most accurate description of this category of content that I've heard from anyone. It feels like education, it is structured like education, it uses the language and format of education, but the purpose is not to make you a better trader. The purpose is to make you a customer of the course, of the membership, of the broker they're affiliated with. Your financial success is not the product. You are the product. And the sophistication of the system, the daily content, the authentic presentation, the community with its carefully curated social proof, The losses posted alongside the wins to signal honesty exist entirely in service of that purpose. Understanding the business model doesn't mean every piece of content is worthless. It means you should evaluate everything you consume through the lens of who benefits when you act on it. When the answer to that question is the person who created the content, regardless of whether I succeed, you are not receiving financial guidance. You are receiving a sales pitch from someone who has learned that the most effective sales pitches don't feel like sales pitches at all. I'm Elizabeth. If this changed how you're going to evaluate the next trading guru that shows up in your feed, share it with someone who needs to see through the same system. And I'll see you in the next one.